Raheem. This is pretty amazing about this tech shutdown of the president, or the tech monitoring of the president. But I'm very proud that we're Modi fans. I'm very proud that we've been in back of President Modi since the old Breitbart days back in 2013 and 2014. And it was so great to meet Dave Ramaswamy and Jay Kansara and all the people, the Hindu American Society, all the people that helped make Howdy Modi the biggest event President Trump's ever had in the United States, and then that huge rally over in India. But President Modi, I tell you what, he does not mess around. Dave, tell us what he did yesterday to basically punch out the Chinese Communist Party as it goes to big tech.
Thank you, Steve. Yesterday, India took one of the most dramatic moves taken by any democracy against the CCP, which is it mandated the uninstalling of about 60 Chinese apps, including TikTok, UC News, which is a browser, and some other apps for photo sharing. And let me tell you why that's a baller move. What the CCP has been trying to do in India and other democratic countries is trying to subvert the constitutional validity and democratic norms that exist in these countries. To use and if you see, Steve, what's happening with the rallies in America, TikTok was used to run interference operation against President Trump's rally in Oklahoma, and it's also been used as a tool to gather up rioters and looters. So, I mean, and a similar occurrence happened in India right before President Trump went there in February. So with this move, Prime Minister Modi is sending a strong signal to the CCP that the foreign interference in India's economy is not going to be tolerated anymore. And also remember, last week, like Indian Army soldiers at the India-Tibet border who were outnumbered by China 5-1, still inflicted 2 times as many casualties on the Chinese. So this is like a 1-2 punch to the CCP.
Hey, Raheem, I want to ask Dave a question.
Go ahead.
I want to ask just Dave a question about to parents out there. It's very controversial about TikTok. What is Prime Minister Modi actually saying? Be very specific. What is he telling Indian parents about TikTok? Because, you know, TikTok is really a cultural phenomenon with young people. So, Dave Ramaswamy, what is Prime Minister Modi telling people, and particularly parents in the United States of America, how should they think about TikTok and the use of TikTok by their teenage kids?
Steve, I know 9 out of 10 dancing nurses prefer TikTok, but that being said, I think the message Prime Minister Modi is trying to send is national security trumps anything else. Individual preferences, individual needs, and so the message is just like our soldiers at the border and soldiers around the world sacrifice their lives, sacrifice their time to fight an enemy, all of us citizens of any democratic country who cares about freedom and liberty needs to sacrifice and put our personal preferences aside to stand on the same side of our soldiers and country.
Hey, Raheem, let's pivot now. We got Dave on. I want to pivot. He's our mathematician. I want to pivot to you and Jack, and I want to talk about the CCP virus in this pandemic and what's going on, particularly with the math. People, I think, are losing the plot here. This is what the story is. The Chinese Communist Party, whether they created in a biological weapons lab or whether it was in a P4 lab they were doing research on, particularly gain-of-function research, and you saw the dangers of that in the great film documentary done by Simone Gao the other day. The Chinese Communist Party owns the chain of title of hiding this virus from the world. And we know from Southampton University, if they had been upfront and told the world in December 2019 what was going on, 95% of the deaths, 95% of the economic carnage would have been avoided. This is the responsibility of the Chinese Communist Party. I think it's incumbent upon President Trump and our government to start to hammer that home every single day.